All right, now here's what we got to. We're going to get to this next. This is a 10-bell game here. Arizona Cardinals on the road against the Tennessee Titans. This is what we're waiting for in week one because this is basically a coin flip. Hey, 3 points either way, minus 2.5 threes across the board. 52. Now, we usually see some of those games go, hey, 48 seems a little bit high. 52 doesn't seem all that high. You have two elite offenses for me anyway. You obviously have Kingsbury. He's going to be able to, run things all the way through fast. You have A.J. Green comes over. We'll see if he can have a rebirth, maybe a second half of his twilight of his career. DeAndre Hopkins is out there. You have an electric quarterback who can run and throw. And then you have Ryan Tannehill in that offense, which is sensational. Now you have two wide receivers. Now you have a really good offensive line. One of the best, if not the best running back in football. And Tannehill can handle his business, Kyle. Deep arm, roll out of the pocket, very athletic. What are we looking at early in the week? Because I think that seems about right, the -3 for the Titans for me.
Yeah, I think that's about right. There should be points in this game. Now, we got to see what this Titans defense looks like, right? And I've been talking about the Titans all season. They certainly have the offense to score with anybody in the league. Two great wide receivers, Ferksker, a very solid tight end, good quarterback, solid offensive line. The problem for the Titans last year is they couldn't stop anybody. They had the worst pass rush of any playoff team since the 1970 Bengals. They added Bud Dupree in the offseason, who was hurt for most of the year last year with Pittsburgh, to hopefully fix some of those woes. And then they turned around, too. They actually had 3 talented defensive backs last year in Butler, Adoree Jackson, and Desmond King. They let all of them go, and they tried to replace them with different people. So there's not a lot of continuity in that secondary. Will that pass rush be able to step up? And we know if you leave Kyler Murray time, he can run down your throat. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, they have some talented skill players on offense. They did let Kenyon Drake go to the Raiders, but they still have Chase Edmonds, and they brought over the sloth, James Conner, so hopefully we don't see too much of him. But the Titans offense should score here. This is one game where I look at, I'm like, yeah, there should be points in this game. I do not mind the over in this one whatsoever. The Cardinals, yes, they added J.J. Watt, but they did nothing to address that dreadful secondary. They lost their best secondary player, even though he wasn't that great anymore, but it's Patrick Peterson was still by far their best secondary player. They lost him. Points should be scored in this game. Hard to take a side. I want to see what happens here, but I do like the over.
And how about this, Kyle? You're looking at the Arizona Cardinals, which, again, shop around these books. I'm just using one today just because it's leveled on one screen. I'll have to flip all the way around. But we'll have some of those hard and fast numbers come Thursday and certainly for Sunday ready for it. But the Arizona Cardinals over 24.5 plus 100, which probably means you can get those 23.5s out there, which seems like a decent number based on the offensive production that we anticipate. And then you take a look at the Tennessee Titans at 27.5. I have to tell you, though, if I'm looking at this game just as a betting set, you have to make a play on this. It would be the Tennessee Titans for me. Number one, home. You get the home field advantage. Dome team going outdoors. Don't get me wrong. We've talked a lot about the NFC West and the hype of that division, and I think the hype is real. But I just think overall that balance, I think Tennessee is going to give that defense of the Cardinals a lot of trouble. And again, we're talking about entering into week one. Everybody is probably going to be healthy on that offense. And maybe somebody tests for COVID later in the week. We'll be able to update that later. But looking right now, Kyle, I think that Tennessee Titans team can put up some points here in this one.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm just looking at their announced depth chart for their defensive back. Here's the defensive backs who are going to try to stop A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, maybe the one healthy game he has all year. Byron Murphy Jr., Marco Wilson, Robert Alford, and Luke Barku. That is a who's who of dog shit defensive backs in the NFL. The Titans are not going to have a problem running the football, and if for some reason they do, their wide receivers are going to be wide open. Titans score points. The Cardinals are going to have to. That defense is very beatable as well. This might be one of the funner games. This might be the game you see the most on Red Zone next week. Is this game. This game should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I like the over, and I would lean Titans as well.
No, I hear you on that. That chat box bringing the heat here. About 300 people live in the chat box here watching on a Labor Day Monday. Awesome stuff, guys. We're going to rip right through these games, have some fun. And yes, Kyle hits those keywords. The red zone's coming back into our life. The tickets coming back into our life. Just logging off on 12:59 saying, I'm going to sit back and watch me some football here. We are rolling and ready for that.